one more. Okay, now we got the trim off. This bolt here, need a 10mm socket. Gotta undo that on both sides. You can see that it just kind of like holds it, like hooks it on there, you know? So we gotta get that off next. Back on the side. So this, we just kind of start moving it apart. Not too much yet. We're not done getting it unattached. And then you can see behind the bumper here, we got this connector, so we have to undo that because it runs on the bumper itself. Okay, so going back in here, you can see this tab here says plug sits in there like that. So this tab is actually, let me know if I can get to go forward. So yeah, move forward. So I couldn't move my finger, so I just got a flathead there and I kind of just pried back. Once you pry it back, and you can push on the tab like a button almost. You push and then you just pull it out, and that's it. So we're gonna do the other side next. Here's me going in here with the screwdriver. Just kind of uses leverage. There, did that. I can push it there. That's it. That was easier. The other side was harder for some reason. Okay, so we're at the back. You gotta open a lift gate. You'll see this black little circle here, and there's another one that's up higher, right next to the tail light, pretty much. There. And these look like they're 10mm as well. Grab the other one real quick. It's easy. It's the hardest part of the job. Okay, now for the fun part, we get to remove the cover. All of this. That's free. I want it gently. I want to break stuff. Probably the smartest thing to do than put tape or something on the bottom. Just be careful. You're gonna scratch the crap out of it. See, that just pulls right off. Trust the screw there. There's like a tab here, so you kind of gotta just lift up on it a little bit just to get it to come up over it, and then you move back. Tell you to just push straight back on it. Okay, here we go. This is a little nerve-wracking. This out of the way. So, next step, you can see these are the two bolts for the, we'll call it a bumper. And we got to get those out because that's where the hitch slides into. But this far, as far as this back bolt there, it's kind of in a goofy spot. So the next thing we gotta do is gotta pop off this bolt for the exhaust hanger. I think it's a 13. Then it allows you to drop the muffler or whatever these are, resonators, down just enough to get that. So we're gonna do that right now. Okay, so back to this. I got the bolts out on this side. It's not quite as I don't want to say easy as it's laid out in the instructions. Take off this hanger and you can move everything out of the way. Not really. I mean, this stuff, it still takes some force to move it around. So I initially used a breaker bar, which it's a little bit doesn't give you as much room as this would. So it was tough to get it in there to like force my way here. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. But it wasn't too bad to get in here with this. I still had to force it down here, but it was not that bad. Once you break them loose, I mean, they come out. They're almost finger loose at that point. And then there's that bottom one. There it is, right there. That one was easy to get to, not an issue. So this side, I'm gonna try and just break it loose with this thing, because yeah. Let's see. I think I can. Yep. It's not tight at all. Like I won't say not tight at all, but it definitely wasn't that difficult. Try again. Yep. Got it. And that's it. Now it's like finger loose already. Pull that out, show you. Just like that. So you can see, even the back one's like that too. So I'll finish getting those out. We're gonna do this one real quick. That one's a little bit tighter, but still, once you break it loose, there's not much to it. And it comes right out as well. So once we get these bolts out, slide this big thing out, and then we'll slide the hitch in and start reinstalling some bolts. So we'll get back once I get that ready. Okay, I'm gonna get ready to slide this in place. I have undercoating, rust proofing, so I sprayed the whole inside of that channel, or channel, whatever you want to call it, the box frame there, subframe, and we're gonna slide this in. So let's get this back on. It'll sit there while I get bolts. Okay, so we got everything snugged up. So now we just gotta torque it all to 110 foot-pounds. Okay, getting back to this, I didn't put everything back yet because I forgot I need to put the harness on and I didn't know what I had to do. So I bought the one that was for this vehicle. I'll show you the part number. So it's Kurt 56473. And what I got in the box was not for this vehicle. So what I got for the box, basically was this, with this plug, and there's nowhere, anything in the back of this that has any plug like that. So I looked up basically the wiring diagram just to double check, what was for what. I had a pretty good idea, but so I verified what was what, because I know yellow wire for trailers, like trailer harness wiring, yellow is driver, green's passenger, black is ground, or black is power, white is ground, and then you'll have brown for like your tail lights, running lights, so, and then the red is usually your brake lights. But you have to verify that on this vehicle or whichever you're adapting it to. So I had to go in here and probe each of these wires, when the vehicle was doing what, turn signal or brakes are on, so I could figure out which wires do what, because then that'll base on actually how you wire that up, which is actually not too bad. It's pretty simple. So I'm just going to use those little splice, the little clamp on ones, because I don't want to, cut anything of the factory wiring. So I'm going to get that going here soon, and I'll be back. All right, so now we're completely done. Ran the power wire. So this actually comes up from the bottom of the subframe. There's a heat shield, so I ran it on the inside of it, so that way obviously it's protected all the way up, and then as soon as it pops out here, just kind of zip tied it to this little bracket, crossed over, ran down the factory harness, and then this is all protected by a 15 amp fuse. And then let's see, it's actually on that stud there, so that's all squared up. And then get under here real quick. So let's see if I can spot it. There's the wire. You can see it's behind the heat shield. And then from there, kind of comes up over top of this. And I even put it up over this bracket. So there it is there. And I got it doubled, zip tied up here pretty good, because I pulled it tight. Because when you put it through this panel, if you leave the wire in there, there's a chance it could bounce. And I was just like kind of tugging on the wire before I secured it. And it just sounds like that, so it would make all kinds of noise. So I pulled it tight, zip tied it there, and that way it's actually tucked up now against the frame rail. Okay, let's go down here. It's hard to tell. It goes up along the gas tank there. See, it comes up, zip tied right there to the factory harness, along the gas tank. And then it just goes, I just put it up and over the suspension cross member. And then whenever we get back over the cross member, you can see it up in there, comes across. And then I drilled a little hole and I put it on the inside of this, because this is just a big heat shield. And then from there, don't mind the camera work, up over the spare tire. And this is kind of my fault, because when I initially cut the wire for this box, I left it really short, so I couldn't even get up in there. So I just did the old twist nut on there, but I took my precautions to make sure it's secure, that way it doesn't move around and loosen up. And so that's how I got it wired. And that's about it. Other than that, we're ready to roll. So on the passenger side taillight, you're gonna have the wiring in there. There's two white wires. One has a bright orange tracer, the other one has a tan. You want the one that is a bright orange tracer, because that is the signal for tail lights. That's the one we use to run this wire down to the brown wire for the trailer lights, which are your running lights, tail lights. So we got that all squared up. This is the passenger side. I know the driver's side's the same way. There's two white wires. One has a gray tracer and the other one has a slightly darker gray tracer. You have to test both those wires with the Jeep running, you know, turn the lights on to figure out which one is actual running lights and which one has a signal to it. So once you get that squared up, then we can actually go test. So put the running lights on now. So I got those on. So here's my tester. So that's telling you right now, tail, those are on. I'll turn those off for now. Left turn signal. You can see that one's blinking. That one's blinking. Just keep going back and forth. It's blinking. And that one's good. And I'll show you how I test brake lights by myself. Let's throw that on there. So we got brake lights on. There we go. And there we go. So that's it. So now we can put all this stuff back together and we're done. All right, so I got this most of the way on. Yeah, you can do this by yourself. It's not too bad. As I said, initially, I guess, I don't know, you can use rags, or if you have masking tape, I'd probably do masking tape, even on the bumper itself. But I just kind of pushed it on here just to get it started. And then I have that rag, you know, was sitting there. And then that kind of held it in place while I, you know, got this started. And as soon as I got started, you know, I just gave it a push and it went right on and it just slid right in there. And then you can just get those in. I know there's still some down here, but now I'm going to get this one in. So let's see if we can do this without scratching it too much. Yeah, you just kind of give it a push. So this is that clip I was talking about earlier. You have to lift it up and then pull up. So it's almost there. Not quite. I need another hand. And then I'll get it lined up. Just finishing this up. Just remember to, you know, plug that connector back in. It's for your backup sensors. Whatever the proximity sensors in the bumper and stuff. So now I can tuck all this back and I can put our screws back in. And then to get it all undone, there's these. Oops, let me try to let it go. That's one. Cover pops off. Got my harness wiring. So I like it. It's pretty neat how it's, you know, tucked away. So that will